Well, you've heard about the Viking stumbles. You've heard from Terrence Campbell. If you haven't, go back and watch those segments on the Ron Johnson Show. But up next now, it's the Daily Three. It's 3 questions, 3 minutes each. Sam's going to throw them at me. I'm going to knock them down. Take it away, Sam.
Twins were off on Thursday, but they are in the place you just were, Ron. They're in Arizona to take on the Diamondbacks over the weekend. But here's my question. Looking ahead at the schedule, 8 of the next 14 games the Twins play against the Cleveland Guardians. Now, the Guardians are heating up. They've won 8 of their last 10. They're 2.5 games out of first place behind the Twins. They're creeping up behind them, and they play 8 times in the next 14. So after that stretch is over, Ron, they'll have met 8 times. Who will be leading the Central?
The Twins will be leading the Central still. It's going to be close, though. I think of those 8, it's going to probably go like 5-3, the Twins. But again, this is where the rubber meets the road. But I think the Twins have it. Like when you know the team is close that you're playing, it notches it up a bit. You know, that's the problem with baseball. 162 games, it's tough every single night to come out and play your best of the best of the best that you can play. Like it's just one of those things like you just can't do it in baseball. It's so hard. And that's why the playoffs are so much fun, because the intensity's ratcheted up. The plays are going up. Everybody's high alert, high level play, everything. You can't do that in 162 games. It's just you're tired, you're traveling, you're on the road. But I'd say the 8 out of the 14, those 8 against the Guardians, Twins are going to go 5-3 versus the Guardians. Twins will still be leading the Central.
They've got another one of those funky 5-game series like they had against Detroit, because they have a doubleheader one day. So they got 5 games in Cleveland. Remember what happened?
Detroit. Yeah. What was it? 4-1. Detroit won.
Yeah.
And I picked 4-1 the other way. I thought the Tigers would get one and the Twins would just rattle them off, and the Tigers found a way. But again, that's because you have 162 games. And when you know how bad a team is, sometimes you mentally just don't come out saying, I need to get big hits. I mean, honestly, I keep going back to my daughter's softball team or 10U team. It's the same way. When we know we're playing an A team, the girls are paying attention. Everybody's high alert. Everybody's going. And then when you play a team that you're like, oh, we can beat them. Like girls are like eating sunflower seeds. They're over there chewing gum, talking, playing around. Like they're just not paying attention. I think it's a human thing. Like when you don't feel like this team can do anything with you, you don't show up. And then by the time you realize they're beating your butt, it's too late. And you just can't get that energy back, and you just have to wait for the next series. And so I think the Twins, I think the Tiger series was a help for them to not do that again.
There was a trade in the NBA yesterday, Ron. Dallas and Houston executed a trade where Dallas gave away the 26th pick and a couple players with expiring deals, and they got Christian Wood back in return. So they gave up their pick to get a player that could help them right away. Would you be opposed to the Wolves doing something similar, giving up their pick, number 19, to get someone who's a little older, more of a veteran that can help them immediately?
Yeah, when you look at Christian Wood, 6'11", power forward, can play the center, can guards, because you don't have the true Shaqs anymore. So he's a guy that can, if you go, not say play small ball, but if you have a Luka and you do some other stuff, get a couple guards out there. Because honestly, in the West, when you think about what happens in the West, you got to have 4 guys that can handle the ball. When you think about the Warriors, like their death lineup, as they call it, where Draymond's the 5. Well, you put a guy in there like Christian Wood as your 4 or 5, your 5 at 6'11", who's technically a power forward. He has an advantage of height over Draymond. And honestly, a lot of teams make moves right now to deal with the Suns and the Warriors. Those are kind of the two. You got to deal with the Suns and the Warriors in the West. And so what do the Suns have? DeAndre Ayton. So we need somebody to be able to bang with him. But then they also have Devin Booker. So we need somebody to go shot for shot with him. The Mavericks, like, they figured it out. And so now it's like, let's build on this. Like we were this close. We were right there. We had it. Like they thought they had it and they just couldn't get over the finish line. And so that's where you what's next? Like let's add a guy who can move a little bit better, who can be a swing guy, who can get us some rebounds. For the Timberwolves, I don't see why not. Like if you don't feel like that pick is going to come in and play right away and there's a guard out there and you're like, look, D'Angelo Russell's not the guy. Then you go get him. But if you're like, hey, D'Angelo Russell's the guy we need is somebody to play right under Cat, like a 3, a really solid 3, like a 6'7", 6'8" guy, who can be a big time player. They don't have to be the man. Like we just need somebody to fill it like an Andrew Wiggins. maybe go back and get Andrew Wiggins. You put Andrew Wiggins with Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns. I mean, why not? It's new ownership, new front office. You see what Wiggins can do now when he has scores. You have scores in D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, and Karl-Anthony Towns. Maybe go back and get Wiggins. He can come in and be that 6'8" swing guy like he's doing. Split the Red Sea. Now, the big difference is they don't have a shooter, and Anthony Edwards has to improve his shooting to make Wiggins a viable option. But I wouldn't be opposed to going back and trading for Wiggins and giving the Warriors their first-round pick if they're willing to do that. But that's just me.
That is a scalding hot take. I love it though. I kind of like the Ben Beacon idea, the Locked On Wolves host who we interviewed. He suggested maybe packaging the big contract of Russell with the pick and tell the team, hey, we'll give you a first round pick. Take this contract off our hands. It'll be off your books in a year. Give us back this piece. And I don't know who that team is yet. Right. I haven't studied it closely enough, but that, to me, might be the best way to unload that Russell contract if indeed you want to get out from it.
Yeah, and that's not the Warriors. The Warriors don't need another guard, so that's not the Warriors. You got to find another
Russell.
team.
Russell.
And it's not the Sixers because they got guards. You know, it's not the Suns. They have guards. It's got to be a team like the Mavericks. I mean, the Mavericks just did it again. Like it could be the Mavericks because like they have Luka. Maybe they need a D'Angelo Russell, and they're willing to just keep moving pieces to get it, and then they get a first-round pick back, and then maybe they give up a player. You know, who knows? But it probably won't happen. That's too much for them. All right, next question.
There were ludicrous takes coming from Tyreek Hill on a podcast recently, at least in my opinion. You'll see what you think. He said that Tua Tagovailoa is more accurate of a passer than Patrick Mahomes. What are we thinking here, Ron, on this Tyreek podcast rant about Tua versus Mahomes?
Well, the fact that Tyreek Hill doesn't even run real routes sometimes, like Patrick Mahomes is playing pickup basketball on the football field at times. He's running around, he's throwing sidearm, he's throwing no-look passes. Everybody is accurate when they're in shorts. Tua, we're not debating that he's not a good quarterback. He went to Alabama. He played well there. He did some national championship type stuff. He was a good player. Him and Jalen Hurts, both like good quarterbacks. But until the bullets start flying, until you got to throw with shoulder pads and a helmet on with a 330-pound guy running at you, or a 290-pound Aaron Donald, or a 260, 70-pound Daniil Hunter in your face, let's see how accurate you are. Like Patrick Mahomes can do that and make that sidearm throw around Daniil Hunter or a flip of the wrist right behind Harrison Smith's head. We've seen it. Like we've seen him do that to the Vikings. I don't know if Tua can do that. But again, you're trying to hype your teammate up that you're with now. The team traded you because they didn't want to give you the money that you wanted. Patrick Mahomes kind of like responded back. I haven't heard his comment, but I saw him on the podium responding to it as well. It is what it is. It's you just like trying to have your boys back. Scottie Pippen has said Michael Jordan wasn't the best player ever. Like, okay, come on now. Like people say outlandish stuff so that we talk about them. And hey, Tyreek Hill, we're talking about you. The season is like I can't wait for the season now. Like I'm getting like 90 days. It's getting itchier and itchier because now we get to see Tua with Tyreek. And the minute he underthrows him or he throws an underthrown and Minka Fitzpatrick picks it off or somebody picks it off, from the Cardinals or something, then everybody's going to go back to that take and be like, how accurate? I mean, he's really accurate throwing it to the other team. You're definitely right there. I wouldn't put that pressure on Tua because who knows if he can handle it.
Tyreek Hill should be kissing Patrick Mahomes' feet because that quarterback got him $120 million, I think, guaranteed dollars.
True.
So I wouldn't bite the hand that feeds me if I was Tyreek. But yeah, we'll see how it goes in Miami. They might be good. They're a wild card to me. I don't know. We got 1 minute left, Ron. I'm going to give you a chance to talk about the Warriors championship. They win the series 4-2. They hang on after a big first half against the Celtics. Steph Curry's got 4 rings.
Yeah, I mean, so this is the thing I look at. They were up in the half. They pretty much controlled the game. Early in the fourth quarter, up 10, 78-68. That's one of those things for me that Steph just became Steph. Like Steph did what he had to do. But Andrew Wiggins, like in the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, Andrew Wiggins had done just enough and did just what Klay Thompson did. They had the same 12 points. Draymond was not the third fiddle. Like Draymond, like he said he was going to play livid this game. I don't know what that means exactly. Like I was expecting, like, livid is like angry. Like I'm like pissed off. Like not angry like in a good way. Livid is like, man, I'm sick of this. I suck. Like I don't understand that word that he tried to use in that instance, but like Draymond, he just wasn't there. But Andrew Wiggins was. And I talked about that earlier. Andrew Wiggins back to the Timberwolves. Why not? A-Rod, get it done. It's a new regime. Like, go get your first round pick and make it viable. Like, show the world like Andrew Wiggins can get it done in a Timberwolves uniform. Bring the championship mentality back. Show the guys like, look, man, I apologize. I wasn't ready yet. Now I'm a champion. I know what it takes. I've been in the locker room with the greats. I've been in the locker room with 2 Hall of Famers. Like I'm with a Hall of Fame coach that's won rings, and Steve Kerr. Like Steve Kerr's got a lot of rings, by the way. I mean, Bulls, Warriors, like
every finger, like with 2 rings on it, basically at this point.
I mean, he's got a lot of rings, and so when you learn from that coach, like Andrew Wiggins might be able to come back and help a young Anthony Edwards, and be an outlet guy that can just give you exciting dunks now and then. He's got his confidence where he's taking threes now. Maybe that's the Warriors, though. Maybe the Warriors gave him that confidence. But I did say they would win. I did say Steph Curry should be the MVP. I thought Wiggins, Andre Iguodala, who knows what he was doing. But yeah, like it is what it is, man. Like the Warriors, like we said it like a month ago, I think you and I said this. The Warriors got hot at the right time. Even though they were 3 seed, they were the scariest 3 seed. We were saying the Timberwolves did not want them. Like we talked about that. Like you don't want to be the 6 seed. Like 7 is probably where you want to be. 5 or 7. You don't want that 6. You don't want to deal with the Warriors right now because they are hot. And they remained hot. And now we have our champions. Well, that'll do it. Oh, yeah. No, what you had to say.
Just really awesome validation for the Warriors dynasty now that they've got one before Durant, one after Durant, and Curry's now been the best player clearly on 2 championship teams. Whereas if there was 2 out of 3 of his titles were with Durant, I think people would they would find a way to pick apart the legacy. They can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I mean he's young. Like he's not old. I mean he's not old, but he's not young. But he's not done. Like he can win 5 or 6. Like we might be like then you got to have that Jordan conversation because it's all about rings, and he gets it done, and he's one of the best shooters in NBA history. Like we don't ever throw him up there. We go LeBron, Jordan, Kareem, Magic. Steph Curry might have to be in that greatest of all time conversation. You might not like it because he's not dunking on people and he's not just bullying people. But he's the best shooter of all time. And he might end up with more rings or just like maybe the same as Jordan with 6.